Hey folks, Matthew Weiss, WeissAdvice.com. In this video, I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I'm going to talk about my personal life. It's the end of the year. Tomorrow is literally the start of 2022, and I thought that this would be a good idea to sort of recap what life has been like for me in this year. Maybe you'll find some stuff that you can relate to. It has been a roller coaster of a year for me. Really, truly high highs and low lows. And, to know that you're maybe going through something like this or have gone through something like this or just to relate is something that I can do on this channel. So first of all, if I sound a little weird in this video, it's because I just got my booster shot, and the COVID booster shot has whooped my ass. I've been running a fever for like 3 days, and I'm wearing this jacket because I'm still getting chills. So don't think that I'm sulking here. That's actually just me kind of being bogged down, not feeling so well. But okay, let's recap some of the things that have been going on this year. Okay, let's start with the big positive. The big positive is I got engaged to the love of my life. And so everything else that's happening in this year kind of is underneath this really big fantastic blanket of my world being better no matter what. There's not too many things that could go wrong this year that would make this a negative year ultimately because of that fact. But a few things came very close. I had a tragedy in my family, which has been really hard. And it's not something that I think is going to be easy to deal with, but I'm going to deal with it. And I think that we've all been in a position where we've experienced loss, or someone that we care for has experienced loss in a serious way. And it's not my first rodeo down this road, but it is something that hurts no matter what. On the career side of things, I was with a previous channel, and we had our best selling year in 2020 to 2021. And then midway through 2021, I felt compelled to step away from that channel, which I think is telling. When you're doing better sales than ever and you still feel like you have to walk away. And so when I stepped away from the channel, I lost a significant portion of my income, a disproportionate amount of my income than previous years. Typically, my income was split about 50-50 between the educational content and the actual engineering and music production work that I do. And it would vary at years. It was starting to creep up and actually become more weighted toward the educational side. And then in 2020 to 2021, because of COVID, where musicians were not out and able to tour, and also people were less inclined to go to the studio, a lot of my work on the engineering side fell off. But because everybody was at home and learning new things, the online educational world actually boomed. And so it became very disproportionate, and I would say about 80% of my income was coming from online education, and about 20% was coming from engineering. But then it started to balance out a little bit, but it didn't completely balance out. And then when I left, basically I was left with maybe about, really, if you do the math, it ends up being like 1/10 or something like that, like 1/7 the income I would normally get. So, in addition to that, living in LA is one of the most expensive places to live, and also starting up Weiss Advice has actually been tremendously expensive. I know you don't think readily that just starting a website is going to be expensive, but even just budgeting for the marketing, that easily runs thousands of dollars every month, and I haven't even really gotten into the marketing yet, but I've been racking up costs. So financially, I've taken a humongous hit this year. And I am not used to that. That's definitely a new experience for me. So I've got that going on. On the one hand, I had, a humongously successful year in some respects. And then I also had a dramatically depressing year, I guess, in terms of the finance. But the end result of that is that I've been able to start Weiss Advice. And, for a very long time, I've wanted to do certain things. A more interactive based education kind of platform which is why I haven't really started offering downloads yet. Like, I don't really sell products quite yet, because I do believe that I will be doing that soon, and I think that there's a lot of merit to doing that, because some people just want to buy something, own it, and have it. Subscriptions sometimes turn people off because it's a constant payment. You have to manage it. It's not something where you just have it all the time, and I definitely understand that. But I do feel like the actual best benefit in any kind of education is where you get two-way feedback, not only where I talk to you, but where you talk to me. And that allows me not only to teach what I do, but also allows me to teach in a way that enhances what you do. And I've felt this way for a long time. But it's a challenging endeavor, because it's not a message that's easy to communicate. So, I think it's going to take a while for this to build. On top of that, when I started with the online music production world, there wasn't a lot of competition in that sea. It was pretty much me and maybe Graham from Recording Revolution. He was really one of the first. And then very shortly after me, the person who really broke the industry open was actually Dave Pensato. He came in about maybe a year later. And then from there, the floodgates opened, and also just the culture of online content creation just became a huge boom in the mid 2010s. So from there, it became a very, very saturated world. And so now, in order to make a YouTube channel build up popularity, or an IG page build up popularity, it takes a tremendous amount of work. You can't just be the only person in a niche, because these niches don't really exist. Niches get ditches. All that said, through the thick and the thin of it, I don't know where things are going to ultimately end up down the road. I don't know if I'm going to stay in LA. I don't know if I'm going to end up in Miami, because I have some prospects over there. I don't know if I'm going to go back to Philadelphia, because that's where my family is. And, I have to go over there, at least for a short time being, to take care of some things and help out. But, I'm getting into that age range where I'm also starting to look at things that are more important than getting platinum plaques and stuff like that. Things like starting a family and things like that. And, I'm looking at that Philadelphia area as being a pretty good prospect for that. And then there's just the possibilities of, maybe spending some time in my fiance's hometown or neighborhood area, which is New Mexico. So I don't really know how that's all going to play out. But what I do know is that the few key things to take away are that my family path is on track, and what I really want to be doing, which is Weiss Advice, that's on track as well. So, I think that hitting this low is a very interesting place to be. But, I'm sharing this for two reasons. I'm sharing this because I feel like I need to. These things are weighing on me, and you guys aren't going to necessarily see that in these videos. Monday's going to roll around, and you're going to see a video on using blended parallel compression techniques and, discovering new ways of doing old things, basically. It's going to be a follow-up to compressing rap vocals, but it's going to be a different take on it. And there's not going to be anything about my personal life in that. And you wouldn't see it. But the reality is that everybody you see on YouTube, everybody you see on stage, everybody you see in a movie, no matter what level anybody is at, everybody is human. And the experience of highs and lows is something that we all go through. I had tremendous problems at the very beginning of my career. It was very hard for me to actually make my ends meet. I was really struggling financially pretty badly. I lost my best friend, and he was also pursuing the same career as I was. He was also trying to be a music producer, and we were roommates at the time. And, this time sort of reminds me of that. But from there, it was a number of years before I started really building up a very strong reputation just by keeping at it and doing what I love to do. So, I have had certain advantages that some people don't have, but I do not come from wealth, and I do not have a foot in the door. No one's ever handed me a key to the kingdom. So I think that, I represent something that's somewhere in the middle. And I think that encompasses most of us. But I believe that if you're doing what you love to do, no matter how many mistakes you might make, no matter how hard things might get, time, persistence, and putting in the effort has worked out for me before. I think it will work out for me again. And if you're finding yourself in a situation like this, it's going to work out for you too. All right, guys, I want you to have a happy new year. I really do wish everybody the best. I love all the support that I've been getting on this channel. It really means the world to me. And I will catch you next time.